Can you hear me? Oh, excuse me. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Does it sound like I'm using a mic? I might have figured out the whole mic situation. Oh, no. Look at us. Look at us. We're figuring it out. Look at how good we're doing. All right. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for being here. Second week back at our live stream classes. Love seeing so many people popping back in. We got some stuff to do. I'm not feeling very well today. I have a bit of a cold, so might be a slightly shorter class. I'm going to try to remind myself to breathe and not hold on to my breath. But let's just see who's here. Mark from Pasadena. Hope you're safe out there in Pasadena, Mark. Eleanor's here. Mike is here. Hello, Mike. Pierre's here. Sherry's here from Long Beach. Thad is here. Woke up early today, Thad. Thank you for being here. Amira's here. Hello. Sai Pao Cat is here again. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for coming back. Minty's here. Pierre says, it's my last day at 57. Happy birthday, Pierre, on your last day of 57. Danny's here. Hi, Danny. And Carlo. Hello, Carlo. And Sveta's here. Good. ROC Super Pause. Love it. Welcome. Yova's here. Hi, Yova. And Oliver. Welcome. Is it Maite? Is that how I say that? David's here. Hi, David. The Tortuga Man is here. Welcome. In the UK. I might have accidentally scrolled away. Shadow Moon. Hello. Livia's here. Beardless Coconut is here. Hello. Eric's here. Titan Gray, JT, and Richard. I'll see who else pops in. I'm just so excited that I got this mic worked out. I've never actually used this mic on my laptop before. We're learning new things. I'm also going to just press go live on TikTok just to see what happens. I'm going to focus most of my attention here. All right, so we got some stuff to do today. So for those of you, if this is your first time, I know I see a lot of returning people, which is fantastic. Audio is clearer than last time. Oh my gosh, we're figuring it out, you guys. So we're doing these classes weekly. If you're brand new to these classes, sorry, I'm like distracted. This is why I like press play on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. So if you're unfamiliar, if like this is your first time showing up, the lore of these classes are that we started these live stream classes on YouTube at the very, very beginning of the pandemic. It was literally March 16th of 2020, where I was just like, something's happened in the world. I feel like I just need to do something. And so I just pressed go on live and just started teaching a class. And what that turned into was 200 days in a row of us doing these live stream classes. Oh, hello, Ozzy. Oh, I have treats here because I wanted the cats to do special things. So we did 200 days in a row of these live stream classes. In total, we did about 239, 238. I can't really remember. And then I burnt out. It was like a whole mental health thing and I had to stop. But we're back. I feel like in a very similar situation as when we were in 2020. Like the world is strange and the world is dark and full of terrors. And I think we all just need to show up for each other. And so I just was like, okay, I'm going to start these live stream classes. So this is the second, oh, sorry, I have cat food in my hand. This is the second week. We're only doing them once a week right now, rather than when we were doing them during the lockdowns, we were doing them every day. So that's a little bit of a change, but most of the time, if you're looking on TikTok, most of the time we're going to be on YouTube. So that's where most of us are. Hi, Lydia. Welcome. Thanks for coming back. This is my cat, Ozzy. he likes to participate in these classes. So we're going to warm up with a little bit of staff spinning stuff. You could also use a lightsaber or a sword or whatever tool you have sitting around for that. And then we'll get into a little bit of lightsaber choreography, and that's our day. Please remember, I just want to preface this because we had some people jump in. Hi, Clive. We had some people jump in to the chat last week and they were spamming the chat. So if you're spamming the chat, you're out. Like, people are here to engage, hi, and have a good time and learn. And if you're taking the space away from people to do that, we're going to ask you to leave. So please be respectful of everybody in this space. And, here, so Azure here, Azure Angel. I cannot say Azure Angel and Chosen One are here now. Hi, everybody on TikTok. I have a fistful of cat food. I'm going to give you your chair, Ozzy, so you can sit here. You can come back here. This is where you can sit. Okay, you can sit right here. Look, I'll even put treats here. Yeah, just for you. Do you want to see George do tricks? Everybody wants to see George do tricks. Okay, watch this. Watch this. Come here. Come here. Good. Can you sit and go up? Good. And spin. Very nice. That wasn't the best spin you've ever done, but I'll take it. Ozzy, do you want to do one? No? Okay. Up. And spin. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Try one more. Come here. Yeah. Can you go up? And spin. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. I'm going to send you off. Go on a scavenger hunt. Okay. Now I'm going to put, thank you for coming. George is the real star of the show here. Let's be real. Okay. So if you have a stick laying around, you don't need an actual bow staff. This looks so dumb. If there's not one thing, it's another, you know. Oh, I knocked the little fluffy thing off. Hold on. So sorry. Oh my God. So if you don't have a staff, a broomstick will do, a Swiffer will do. If you've seen Rolland's, he's doing great with a Swiffer. A Swiffer will do, any sort of stick will do. If you've done this before, I challenge you to go find something in your house that you wouldn't necessarily think to spin and spin that. Challenge yourself, because different tools are going to have different weights and characteristics. They're going to have different personalities. So like if you're like, I've done this before, I know what I'm doing, then go get something new. Go try something new. So you could, if you have a lightsaber, you could also do our little warm up with a lightsaber. I'm going to do it with a staff for now, just because it's more of a neutral tool. And this is what I do in all of my classes before we start moving into any skills and tricks. We start with a warm-up. So the first thing you're going to start with are forward figure eights. So that's when you send, I'm not going to do the full tutorial because I do have a full tutorial. There's a free course linked in my bio. You literally learn this whole skill for free. There's also one on my YouTube. So I'm not going to go through the whole skill. If you don't get it, it's fine. It's fine. So basically what you're doing is you're thinking about sending the top end around the circle in the front and around the circle in the back. A lot of people try to think about what their hand is doing in the middle, and I find that's where people get confused. So think about, you see this pink piece of tape at the end of my staff? Think about drawing a circle in the front with that pink piece of tape, and then drawing a circle in the back with that pink piece of tape. So you're doing a circle in the front, circle in the back. And you can start off with big arm swings, and then eventually you're going to start condensing the circle by bending your elbows. So the circles that you're making when you do a big arm swing, it's a really big circle. But then when I make the circle a little bit smaller by bending my elbow, the circumference of the circle gets smaller. And then eventually what we want is a straight arm that's parallel with the floor. And my wrist is just making the circle. So now the circumference of the circle is really tiny. And this is where you're going to get the most speed out of your figure eights. The more you have to move your arm, the slower it's going to be because it has a longer path to travel. Okay, so I want you to just warm up with this. You can do this while I'm talking, and I want you to do it in both hands. So this is a forward figure eight. Nice and relaxed, nice and easy. I'm not tense in my deltoid or my shoulders or my traps. My arm is nice and relaxed. My hand, if I come closer, you'll see that my hand is quite loose. So I'm anchoring most of the staff with my thumb and my index finger, and then I'm just using a little bit of opening in my hand. So I'm opening and closing my hand to give myself more space in the staff. That way I don't have to death grip it, because nobody has that mobility. Nobody has that. Okay, so give yourself a little bit of space. As long as you have control of the staff right here, you can open and close your hand. What we want to avoid, though, is a teacup hand, where you're sort of doing this. That's a pretty precarious position. You're not going to be able to find a lot of control in that space. So a nice loose hand, opening and closing. My hand is really relaxed. It shouldn't feel taxing on your hand. Like, your hand shouldn't feel tired. Your shoulder will feel tired because you're holding your arm up and then moving it around. That's going to make you feel tired. But your hand itself shouldn't feel tired. Okay. Now we're going to move over to the other hand, the left hand. This might look like my right in the camera. I don't know. I don't know my left from my right anymore. But you're going to do the same thing in the left hand. So if you're brand new at this, start with big circles. Circle in the front, circle in the back. Circle in the front, circle in the back. And then you slowly start condensing the circles. And then eventually you're pushing your arm to straight. Oh, my phone is ringing. Oh, well. And then you're looking for a straight arm that's parallel with the floor. Again, a nice loose grip, anchoring with your thumb and your index finger. And you could just do that for days. You could just, if you just knew that, a forward figure eight, you're doing pretty well. You know, like you're already got skills. And then you can pick up any tool, literally any single tool that you have, you can do figure eights with. I'm using my short sabers today because my shoulders really hurt. But the length of the tool doesn't matter. You can do them with short sticks. You can do them with short sabers. You could do them with long sabers. I just want you to be aware that this skill, when you start doing it really tight, so I'm going to do it facing you, and you can see how tight the saber is to my shoulders. Like, it's trying to be as straight up and down as possible. Okay? So I don't want to be going out on an angle. The more you go out on the angle, again, the farther the distance you have to travel, therefore the slower it's going to be. So I want it to be nice and tight, right down the middle. Okay? Because you're doing that, even though we are opening and closing our grip, it's still requiring a fair bit of wrist and joint mobility, like in your elbows, your shoulders, but especially your wrist. So if you're doing these skills with a really heavy tool, say you have a big 6-foot oak bow that weighs like 300 pounds. I'm exaggerating, but it feels like they weigh 300 pounds. Or some of the sabers that you can buy, like this one is quite substantial and heavy. Just be careful about how many you do. We don't want to strain the ligaments and the joints in your wrist especially. So if it starts to get sore and tired, just stop. You're not doing yourself any good by continuing past that point of pain. So be good to your body, and then you're going to be able to do more. But we don't want to be putting any strain in any of the ligaments in here, because this is a very delicate joint. It's a very mobile joint. Even if you feel like you don't have wrist mobility, like your wrists are quite mobile. So you just want to make sure that you're taking care of those joints, because there's a lot of little tiny bones and muscles and ligaments that if they get jammed, they're a pain in the ass to get worked out. Did you know your cat's judging? Oh, my cats are very much judging my skills right now. If you are like, oh my God, I'm a rock star, I know how to do figure eights. I'm not talking about, we're just doing forward figure eights for now. We do have reverse figure eights. When you go into my bio and you click on the free course, you learn basic flow. There's also a tutorial on YouTube. Basic flow is forward figure eights, swing down to reverse, up and over to forward. That is the base skill of absolutely every single staff spinning skill you will ever learn in your entire life, all the way up to an advanced professional level. Like, there is an element of a figure eight in everything. So that's why that's my free course, and that's the first thing I ever teach in class. So, but we're only doing the forward figure eight right now, just as a warm up. But if you're like, I've done this before, I've done your free course, I've watched those tutorials, I've taken your classes, Okay, fine. Grab another stick. And then let's do figure eights with 2 sticks at the same time. This one is where I really love teaching this skill in real time because I like watching people being like, oh, I can do figure eights. I can do figure eights. Then I'm like, okay, do it at the same time. I'm just going to switch hands because I'm going to hit the wall. Do it at the same time. And then you start seeing like where the neuromuscular pathways have not been connected. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I will talk about the reverse figure eights. So if you don't know reverse figure eights, go to my bio, click the free course, or go on YouTube, find basic flow. Okay, moving this back. Okay, so in your right hand, you're going to do forward figure eights. That means you're sending the top end away from you. So that's a forward figure eight. Reverse is when the top end comes towards your face. Okay, reverse are generally a little bit harder. We're going to do forward for now. Okay, this is my forward figure eight in my right hand. It might look like my left, but that's my right hand. Then I'm going to do the same thing in my left. I'm going to do forward figure eights in my left. And you could do this with 2 short sticks, 2 lightsabers, 2 stabs, or 1 of each. That's up to you. It's going to be harder, obviously, if they're 2 different tools. So that's forward and my left. Now I'm going to do them at the same time. So the top end, are going away from me. They're both doing a circle in the front. They're both doing a circle in the back. Circle in the front, circle in the back. Okay? This is brain gym. It's also arm gym because your arms are going to get really tired, but it's mostly brain gym. Okay? So this is a mirror image figure eight. So that means the stabs or the tools are moving in opposite directions. So you can see that both of the top ends, my sticks, are moving away from each other, but I'm doing the same skill. Okay, so I'm just doing forward figure eights in both hands, but they're going in opposite directions. Okay, so that's a mirror image double figure eight. You could do that reverse, where I take my right hand, I do reverse figure eights. Again, go find basic flow on YouTube or in my free course to learn that. Maybe I'll do it in one of these live stream classes, but I want to do lightsaber stuff. And then I can do reverse figure eight in the left as well. Again, so that means the top end is coming towards me. Circle in the front, circle in the back, front, back, and then I can do the same thing. I'm going to come back to that double figure eight, and they're both going to go down the middle in the back, down the middle in the front. So now I'm doing mirror image double reverse figure eight. So they're both in the back at the same time. They're both in the front at the same time. Both in the back, both in the front. Okay? And then you just work that out. The tricky part is, with these double figure eights, is you probably have one hand that's more proficient than the other. For most people, that's the right hand. So your right hand is just like it's just going. And then your left hand is like, like it's a little bit slower. So the tricky part about this is, can you make the 2 sides move at the exact same time? So you're probably going to have to slow down your good hand and just go to the speed of your non-dominant hand, or the hand you like the least. So you want them moving around the circle at the same time. Okay? So this is double reverse mirror image double figure eights. No, double reverse figure eights and mirror image. Okay? Because if you cut it down the middle, it would be like a mirror. It's symmetrical to each other. Now, the next double figure eight, if you're feeling fancy, if you're like, this is my first day, what are you doing? Just do one. Do one hand. You're not going to get to 2 hands with a figure eight or with a stick unless you can do one hand. So if you're brand new, just stick with one. If you're like, I've done this before, that's when you pick up 2. So the next one we would do is forward figure eights in the right. So that's the one that's going away from us. Okay, and you're like, easy, no problem. In your left hand, you're going to do reverse figure eights. So that's the one where the top end comes towards you. Okay, now you're going to do that at the same time. So my right hand is going forward. My left hand is going reverse. So now, as you can see, my tools are moving in the same direction. They're both going this way. So they're both going clockwise, basically. They're both moving towards the right from the left. okay? But I'm doing two different skills. So one hand, that's my right hand, is doing forward figure eights. My other hand, my left hand, is doing reverse figure eights. This is where I see people's brains just go like, because you're like, this is what happens. It happens every time. And I'm not making fun of anybody. I just really enjoy watching the process of people's nervous systems work this out in real time. Because you might get it right away. Some people do. And it's always surprising who gets it right away. But then if you just do it for like 5 minutes every other day, it will happen. Like you'll just wake up one day and do it because you just need time for your nervous system to create the neural pathways. And that doesn't happen instantly. That happens over the process of several weeks. Beardless Coconut says, that's so tough. I love it. Oh my God, I love teaching people this. So right hand is doing forward, left hand is doing reverse. Again, I want them moving at the same speed, but I'm doing two different skills. But what happens is you start one, you get the other going, and then because you have the mirror image one dialed in, it's a little bit easier. Somehow you'll be like, I'm doing it, but then suddenly you're doing mirror image. It's fun to watch. The forward figure eight and a horizontal figure eight is, yeah, so you could also do it. This is called dual pattern, where I have one horizontal, doing horizontal flat spins. You can learn those in my horizontal essentials course. It's in my bio. I'm not trying to be salesy today, but just mentioning it. And then you can have the other one be vertical. That's a whole other mind melting scenario. Okay. And then of course we would always reverse that. So we were doing forward in the right, reverse in the left. You do the opposite as well. You want to make sure you do both sides. So I'm going to do forward in the left, reverse in the right. Okay. This one might feel easier because your right hand is probably more proficient at the reverse figure eights. So then the harder part of this skill is the reverse figure eights. So you might actually find it easier to do this side with forward going on the left because your figure eights are better in your right hand on the right. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So practice that. I think there is a tutorial for that on my YouTube somewhere. I'm just going to take a look at some of these questions. Hello, asymmetry. My left hand seems to catch up. Yeah. And so one of the things that I will say in this skill is when it does mess up, because eventually it's going to mess up. Like eventually you're going to be like, what happened? You just stop, shake it out, maybe even give yourself 5 minutes, practice something else for 5 minutes, and then come back to it. You don't need very much time under tension on this skill at first. Once you sort of reach that saturation point where your brain gets like, that's your nervous system being challenged, and you're sort of reaching your max capacity for this moment. So then you can just pull back a little bit, go back to just doing it in one hand at both times, or at both times, one at a time, and then come back to two. And then you just sort of keep cycling through that. That will help. Being able to do this stuff with two skills, like whatever, doing two skills at the same time in hand is going to make all your single saber or your single staff work much easier and much cleaner because you're able to sort of separate the two rather than just focusing on the one. So I always recommend at least doing double reverse figure eights at some point during your practice because it's going to make everything else that much better. Okay. And then before we get into our little lightsaber choreography, if you're like, I just want to do the lightsaber spinning, stop talking. Well, it's a free class. They needed you. So the Gambit staff fight choreography and Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, they didn't ask me. I know those guys too, and they didn't ask me. Anyway, it's fine. I'm not bitter at all. So another thing, once you get basic flow, so basic flow is forward figure eights, swing down to reverse, up and over to forward, okay? If you know that and you're like, I want to spin this lightsaber like a badass pro, that basic flow is going to be the base of everything because now you can come here and you can add a little bit of dynamic movement to that. And now you have this like really badass lightsaber flow that you can start adding like other skills into, because you have that base. Then you have the ability to learn all these other skills. So that's why I really recommend basic flow for whatever tool you're working with. Even if you're working with a rope dart, basic flow is it. Okay? Let me just look at some questions and we're gonna get going. I'm trying not to do like a whole hour and a half. Olivia says, my favorite mind-melting moment is when I just slow down to a snail's pace and kind of tilt my head because my body's doing different things than my brain. Yeah, isn't it funny how that works? All right. Okay. So last week on our live stream, we were talking about some basic angles of attack with our lightsaber. We did 1, 2, 3. I think we did all the way up, the whole combo. So we're going to go over that again. Now, the thing we need to know about creating dynamic fight choreography, and I tell the same thing to my actors when I work with actors on set with weapons, is you want to be really, really precise with your angles of attack. We do not want, it's the very same thing as when I talk about staff technique, where you want to be very clear about the pattern and the path that your staff is traveling on, because that's where you're going to get the most flow and continuity. When you're working with a bladed weapon, for instance, like a lightsaber or a sword, I know it's really bright in here. I think it's too dark if I do this. Maybe not. We'll see. You tell me if this is too dark. I think it's too dark. Sorry. We're going back with the light on. So when you're creating lightsaber choreography, especially if you're going to be doing it with a partner, if your angles of attack are not clear, that's when somebody's going to get hurt. So if your partner is expecting an angle 1 to be coming from the equivalent of my temple to shoulder across the body, and yours is sort of coming across like this, or you reach across the line a little bit more, then your partner doesn't know what to do with that. And then either they're smart enough to adjust in the moment, and then that's changing the choreography of your fight, or you catch them completely off guard and it messes them up and hopefully they don't get hurt. So we want to be very, very clear. And then also, aesthetically, both these cats just, oh, you can't see Ozzy, can you? Oh no, he's on the couch where am I pointing? There, that's Ozzy. George is up there. They just were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then we're finally just like, I'm out. You're boring. Okay, so aesthetically, lightsaber is a very aesthetic tool. We have this big piece of light that traces shapes across the screen. So when you're creating lightsaber choreography or combos, you want to keep in mind that this is an aesthetic tool. So you want to be very clear with the conversation you're having. So if your conversation is, I'm striking angle 1, striking angle 2, angle 1, angle 2. This is my story that I'm telling. Okay, this is a very like simple combative drill. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 1, angle 2. I'm very clear about my angles. So I'm being very clear that this angle 1, I retract, I come through. I want my weapon to travel on a 45-degree angle. So for me, I'm technically trying to hit, imagine this is your opponent. I'm technically trying to go from temple to shoulder. This is the shape I'm trying to create across my opponent's body, because this would be an attack either to the head or it could be to the shoulder. But what I want is, if I were to pause the video, is you would see this 45-degree angle line. Then you swipe through. Then you bring it up, you do the opposite from the opposite side. So now I'm on the left, I'm doing the same thing. What I'm looking for is temple to shoulder, this 45-degree line before I swing through. So rather, what I see a lot, especially with new practitioners or even some of the actors that I work with, is there's just no intention on what you're trying to strike. So you want to make sure, like, we're not actually trying to strike for real, but you want to make sure that the intention of the strike, especially if we're doing fight choreography, matches the intention of the angle. So I'm thinking temple to shoulder, swing through, temple to shoulder on the other side, swing through. And I'm right now, I can look at my own reflection in the camera, in the computer screen, so that I can use myself as a guide, because it's really hard to do this when you're by yourself. So you could set up your phone and just look at yourself in the phone and try and match that angle. That's a really good way to do it, and then you can watch it back. You don't have to post it. Or you could use your camera or your laptop screen as your guide if you don't have anybody with you. So I'm thinking top right corner to bottom left corner, top left corner to bottom right corner. And I'm basically just trying to swipe through. If I close one eye, I'm trying to swipe through the entire computer screen. So I'm Xing the entire screen, okay? In film fighting, a lot of the times what I try to do when I'm on set, or what I tell my actors, is when we're on set, the camera looks like a box. So the lens of the camera, it comes out like this. So what I tell my actors, or I remind myself to do, is fill the entire lens. So create the swipe through the entire lens that I'm seeing out in front of me, okay? Doing this thing where I talk and don't breathe. Another thing you could do, I think Livia mentioned it here, is you can put an X somewhere. Like, you can just use a piece of tape and create an X and follow the X with the piece of tape, okay? If you have access to a martial arts dojo or a studio, you could use a bob or a heavy bag. Bob is really great. Bob is like the little like rubber man that looks like this. He just sits there. He has no arms. You could use Bob. He's really good at taking a hit. But basically, we just want to get really, really clear with our angles, okay? And then the other thing is, just out of safety for yourself, your dance partner, and your equipment, is I'm not leading with the top of my weapon. So I'm not doing this, okay? What I'm doing is imagining that I'm striking from about the middle of my weapon and then sliding along my target with my weapon. So I'm slicing with my weapon from the middle, depending on how long your weapon is. Like, sometimes it's the last 6 inches, but about like the middle of this blade, and then slicing through. So as I come through here, I'm meeting the middle of the blade. So if you see from the side, my blade is flat. My knuckles are facing the front. So I come through, I'm not pointing like this. What I'm doing is I'm keeping the weapon parallel to this front wall. Then I meet my target, then I slice through, and then as that passes through, then I point my weapon down. And then the same thing here, I'm coming out, my weapon is flat, okay? Meet my target, slice through, then push the tip of my weapon through, rather than always tapping the weapon, because that's when you're getting the most reach. It's probably when you're gonna hit your camera or your partner, okay? So imagine, hit the target, slice the target, hit the target, slice the target, hit, slice, hit, slice. Okay, and then the other thing is we want this hand up and active. If you were in a real lightsaber fight, because we get in lightsaber fights all the time, you know that. Every day, getting into a lightsaber fight. If I don't have this hand active and ready, this hand is a target. Not only for somebody else's weapon, but for my own. Like, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna slice my arm off. So make sure this hand is active and ready. In a lot of like other techniques, specifically the one that I know the most is like FMA, Filipino martial arts, is when we're striking, like, I can use this hand, I can grab, I can disarm, I can like use that as a way of controlling the environment and controlling my partner, because I'm using this hand. So we don't want this hand to be dead. If you need a place to put it in your sternum, leave it right here, okay? And then you don't have to do anything with it. I'm just sort of pushing it there, and then it has a place to live, okay? So what we're gonna add to this angle 1 and 2, 1, 2, is a little loop out. So we wanna make it look a little bit fancier than just 1, 2. Boring. So we wanna go 1, loop 2, and then we'll add 3, loop 4, okay? So all this is, if we go back to the beginning of the class, we were doing forward figure eights. In your forward figure eight, you have a loop in the front. You also have a loop in the back. That's called a wrist roll. I'm going to show it to you facing forward, sending the top end forward, circle in the back, bring it back up. So all I'm doing is anchoring with my thumb and my index finger, opening my hand and letting the saber move in my hand. Excuse me. So I'm letting the top end fall, letting the bottom end come on the inside of my arm, top end stays on the outside, it draws a circle, and then I just re-grip at the top. It shouldn't leave your hand. It's just a circle. Done. Anchoring this top hand. If you feel like it's like complicated and it's not working, you're doing too much. You're probably trying too hard. T-Rex arm close to chest. That's good info. Not a lot of people consider the offhand. Definitely don't want those kinds of accents with a sword. Yeah. And also it looks a little bit more active and alive when your opposite hand is active and alive. Okay. It makes it look like you know what you're doing. Okay. So this wrist roll, I do have a tutorial for this, both on TikTok, Instagram, might be on YouTube. There's definitely one on Instagram and TikTok though. Okay. So just this loop. So it's a really good thing to practice. This loop you can do forward and reverse. We're just doing forward, just means this top end goes away from me, swings around, and then I re-grip. Okay, so I can do that out to the side. I can do that above my head as a high whip. You would see that in a Obiani skill, is this single loop done at this 12 o'clock position. Okay, so that's one thing we want to practice. And then the other way we can do it is we put it on the angle. So we do our angle 1, nothing changes. Then as we come up for our angle 2, that goes from top left corner to bottom right. Before we do that, I'm going to send that top end away from me, do my single wrist roll on a 45-degree angle, and then slice down as I finish the loop. So we're using the wrist roll to gain a little momentum and speed into our strike. Okay, so this loop, forward wrist roll, done on an angle over your left shoulder into your angle 2 strike is what we're doing. So I'm starting with my right hand, right foot forward, left checking hand is at my chest, active and ready to go. I can start by retracting. Again, this is going to help tell the story. I'm retracting. You would never retract in a real fight, by the way. You would just strike. But because this is not real lightsaber fighting, we know that, right? We know that this is not a real lightsaber. Okay, we can retract. We have the space to retract. Okay, so I'm bending my knees and I'm in a nice athletic position. I'm retracting. I'm doing my angle 1, which is top right to bottom left. Swing through, lift up. Now right here, before I do this strike, I'm going to lift my hand up, send that top end away from me on a diagonal circle. And then as I finish the circle, then it's like I'm pulling like a cord down, and that's what creates my angle 2 strike. So it looks like this: angle 1, up, loop, angle 2. Angle 1, up, loop, angle 2. 1, up, loop, angle 2. 1, up, loop, angle 2. And then you smooth that out a bit, and it makes it look a little bit flashier. Okay, but we still want to maintain the integrity of our angles, still finding that 45 degrees, finding that 45 degrees. You want to see the picture. This is a visual weapon. This is a visual tool. So you want to be able to see the picture. If you were to take a screenshot, you would see these angles, and they would be very precise. Okay, so that's our angle 1 and 2. We can add a horizontal angle to the bottom of that. So I would go 3. So my 3 is coming, think belly button level, and I'm just slicing straight across. So I'm leading with the blade edge, the pinky edge of my hand. And then as I pass center, that's when the tip of my weapon goes through. And then I wrap. Be careful with a lightsaber. Don't do this. Don't do that. I mean, you could, but. And then angle 4 is you come back the other way. So again, I'm leading with my palm down. And then as I pass center, then I can flick that loop out or flick the top end out. Now, what happens is if we do this here, you have to use quite a bit of strength to stop the weapon to get into your next strike. So we can add this loop out as a way of dissipating some of the energy and the momentum we create with that angle 4. So that's that same forward wrist roll, but we're going to flip it sideways. We're going to extend our arm, still send the top end away from you, and then it comes around the circle. Okay, so that's our loop out on our horizontal line. Okay, if you have a longer tool like a staff, you may have to dodge and dip your head out of the way, so just be aware of that. Don't go too hard too soon, just in case you smack yourself in the back of the head. I've done it. I did it on set, actually. I was working on, I think it might have been when I was working on Supergirl, and they gave me this like 5-foot bow, and they're like, do something, and I did like something, I can't remember, but I did something, caught it blind, and went like, whoom, whoom, and like I shot like lightning out of my staff by going like, whoom. Except for my staff was long, it was like 5 feet long, and I just went like, skunk, and hit myself in the back of the head. I kept going though, because I'm a professional, but I did definitely smash myself in the back of the head in front of everybody on camera. Obviously, they didn't use that one, but everybody was like, and you're like, no, I'm fine, it's cool. Do it all the time. I also, if you saw my video I did for Rolland's with the Swiffer, I definitely smacked myself in the back of the head with the Swiffer in that video. I may have cried a little bit. It hurt. The Swiffer was hard. It was harder than a lightsaber. Anyway, so you're going to do angle 3. Again, right foot forward or in a right hand. Left hand is active. 3 comes across. Swing. And then 4 is the one we're going to add that loop out. So you're opening. And then as you open and you get to about this front 45-degree angle, this front corner, that's when you're starting to start sending that top end around. You get the loop out and then you stop. Okay, you don't have to do the loop on the 3. That means it's a little bit too close to you. So I'm going angle 3, 4, loop out, out. So you can smooth that out. 3, 4, loop. 3, 4, loop. 3, 4, loop. 3, 4, loop. Okay? So then we're going to put that all together. We're going to put that all together with the angle 1 and 2. So again, starting with your right foot forward, in your ready position, checking hand is ready to go. That's your left hand. Right hand is ready. You're retracting. Here's your angle 1, top to bottom corner. Come up, angle 2. Here's your loop. Send that top end away. Swing down. Then you're coming across right away. Here's your 3. Notice the angle change. And then 4. Okay, so our first 2 angles create a 45-degree X, thinking that we're hitting from temple to shoulder on our opponent. Our 3 and 4 angles are about slicing the belly in the middle. Okay, you could also slice legs if they're available, but for the most part, just think slicing across the belly button. And I want you to be very clear about the change in those angles. So your first angle 1 and 2 create an X. Angle 3 and 4 create a horizontal straight line. Got it? All right, one more time. So I'm here, retracting, angle 1, angle 2, loop, bring it through, 3, 4, loop out, and stop. Okay, and then we just want to smooth that out. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. Okay, notice how much I'm moving my hips. Okay, I'm not just standing here statically. I'm actually using my hips more than I'm using my arm because I want to save the gas in my arm. I want to save energy here because if I were in a real fight, if I'm just using my arm, I'm going to get so tired and then I'm going to be weak and then I'm going to be useless, then I'm going to die. So what I can do is use my like big, strong, athletic base. So if you've played like volleyball or any sort of sport, you have this like wide base where you can go anywhere out of that. It's the same thing for this. I'm taking my base, pushing my feet into the floor, engaging my core. And then what I'm going to do is turn the screen down a little bit so that you can see my feet. I'm into the floor, I'm engaged so that now I can just pivot on each foot and I can use the strength of my legs because your legs are way stronger than your arms are. So I'm using the strength of my leg and my hips twisting and my core being tight, using this like strong machine of my body to create the power in my strikes. And then the rest of me is just moving my wrist. So then I'm like saving all this energy. It's way more economic to be moving with your whole body as one whole unit rather than just trying to like use your arm for it. There's moments where we're just using our arms, like an Obiani, for example. But what we really want is to create energy out of these skills. And the way you're going to do that is by moving your hips, moving your body. Okay? So a really good thing to just practice is get into your athletic stance and just do this. Okay? I'm just pivoting on the balls of my feet. Let me move back so you can see me. Okay? I'm just pivoting on the balls of my feet. This is all I'm doing. And then I'm just happening to connect my lat with my elbow. You see how much my arm isn't moving? Like I'm doing a little bit, but most of it is coming from here. I'm just focused on turning my hips and my arms will follow. Okay? And then aesthetically, if anybody has done, I'll answer your question in a second, Thad. If anybody's done like any performance or theater or like has worked on film or like dance or anything, you know that in performance, we enhance things. We over-exaggerate things because we need to be able to project and tell our story to a wide audience. Even in film fighting, like if you watch like, oh, I'm not breathing. If you watch your like favorite fight scenes in movies, you will see like a hook in real boxing is like this. But a movie hook is this. Like everything is over-exaggerated and expanded because we have to be able to tell a story. It's the same thing with this. So if you're doing it really tight, like if that feels good for you, fine. But if you're trying to like make it aesthetic for like, say you want to make a TikTok or an Instagram about it, you have to be able to expand the movement. And the way you're going to do that is moving through your hips, moving through your core, rather than just moving your arm. So, Thad says, I noticed your stance has a boxer type stance. Your left heel is up. It seems like it's a good way to use your hips. Yes, my background in martial arts is Muay Thai and FMA. So I like, I'm like a little bit of a cold and not breathing. Doing great. I do like this stance where I have my weight is centered between my feet. Can't see my back heel. My back heel is up. I feel the most ready to move. I know other people prefer having your feet sort of at a 45-degree angle and both heels down. I personally feel a little too stuck to the ground like that. So I like this position. I was also a dancer. So this position is this position, which is this position. So I do like more of a boxer stance, but you can do what's good for you. A lot of different martial arts have different stances. I find for me, just a really simple athletic stance is the one to go. What you want to avoid is standing on a balance beam though. I don't have any balance here. So right here, my feet are about shoulder width apart and I'm bending my knees. Okay, and that's just neutral. This is where you sort of live. So you don't want to be fighting up here. You don't want to be down here. You don't want to be here. Well, some people might if you do like Taekwondo or something, but just a nice, easy neutral that you can maintain for long periods of time. Let me get a drink. Okay. I'm sorry for the mouth noises on my mic. That's an like rage scroll for me. Okay. So let's keep going with this choreography. Piovis says, I hit myself in the head. Yeah, be careful. Generally, if you're smacking yourself in the head, it's probably because your angles are off and you're going too fast. So I implore you to slow down. Okay? Take your time. Thank you, Livia. Okay, yeah. So what I just want to add are some, if you believe I've been doing this my whole life, I just want to add a block and a block and a spin. That's all I want to add to this. Okay, so take a breath, Michelle. Okay, so here's what we have so far. I find my athletic position, not standing on a balance beam, hips as wide as my shoulders. I'm ready. Checking hand is ready to go. I retract, I come through angle 1, come up angle 2 with the loop, swing out. Angle 3 is straight across, think belly button. Angle 4 comes out, hit that front corner, add your loop. Now here, we've just done 4 strikes in a row. Now we're gonna do 2 blocks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the bottom end, this hilt, to my hand. So I have this hand right here. I'm just gonna bring the hilt to this hand. So now my right hand is under, my left hand is over. So they're the opposite of each other, okay? This is how you would hold a weapon with 2 hands. So I'm gonna bring my weapon to this hand, and then I'm gonna create a little house. It's called a roof block or a shield block with my weapon. So you see how this is at a 45-degree angle. I'm poking my head through this little hole. So my right arm comes to my left shoulder. And then I'm going to take a step back because we were here. Generally, if I have a weapon coming this way, I want to get out from underneath the weapon. So I'm going to back up a little bit. Okay. And what we want to create is a picture. I want to see the roof of your house right here. So from your angle 3, 4, and then I'm coming up from the bottom corner to the opposite top corner, taking a step back. This is my left foot. Coming to here, okay? Then I'm gonna flick this top end up, and then I'm gonna come back and take a step back with my front foot. So right now, this is my right foot. I'm flicking the top end forward. I'm bringing it towards the back, and I'm gonna keep hanging on. I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so basically, this is why our reverse figure eights are really helpful, because basically what I'm doing is reverse figure 8 with 2 hands on the weapon. Okay, making sure my tip of my weapon stays as forward as possible. I do have to bring it to the back to swing through, but I want it to come forward. Come forward. Okay, so from this angle 4, I'm going to take a step back, just a like walking step back with my left foot. Bring it up, match my hand, come to here, flick this top end up, bring it up and across the back. As I step back with my right foot, do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I'm just doing the opposite of opposite, and I'm taking 2 steps back while I do it. So it's gonna go 1, 2. Okay, notice my head never leaves the front because you want to keep your eyes on your target the whole time. Okay, and then what we're gonna add is just because it's fancy. Hi, Mike. Mike says, I'm a fire spinner. I could also wield a saber. Isn't that called the 2-beat wave for figure 8? Sure, yeah. It's called a lot of things. If you have another name for it, awesome. Keep doing that. Okay, so from the top, here's what we're going to start. So this is going to take us back a little bit, and then we're going to move forward. So I'm starting with my right foot forward, retracting, angle 1. Here's angle 2 with the loop, angle 3, angle 4 with the loop. Then I'm bringing it up, matching my hands here. So I'm bringing it to this hand. Notice how this hand isn't moving. I'm just leaving my palm down, leaving the hilts, bringing it into that hand as I take a small step back. Make my roof. So here's my roof. Boom. Okay. Lift that top end up. Swing through the back. Take a step back with my right foot. That's my front foot. And then find the roof on the other side. Then from here, I'm going to come back forward with this right foot. Okay, but I'm going to leave my saber where it is. So from here, I'm just going to step forward and I'm going to turn my body to face this left hand wall. And now I can let go with this hand, okay, because this is going to be really awkward. And then what I'm going to do, turn my saber over to palm up, keep turning. So if I were to keep turning, I would be turning towards my left, towards the back, take a step back. I'm going to move back so you can see my feet. Take a step behind you with your left foot, Then you're coming all the way over the top as I come back to the front and untwist. And then I swing through with an angle 1. It's a lot more confusing when you do it slow. So we'll do it slightly faster. So I'm going from angle 4, coming back into my shield block, take a step back with this front foot, lift up, swing down. Here, then I'm just tapping, I'm basically just putting weight on this front foot before stepping forward again. Turn my body to the side, turn my palm up. So now my blade is facing the front. Put my left foot behind my right. This saber is going to swing down to the floor, up to the ceiling. My eyes are going to get to the front first. Take a step out. Now I'm ready to just go, whoom. And that's an angle 1, going from top corner to bottom corner. Whoom. So if I did that fast, I would just turn and not stop. So from my angle 3, 4, here's block, block, ba-da-da. Okay, so I just keep stepping forward and turning towards my left. Okay, I gotta move this chair. Okay, so from the top, I'll go slow at the end again. So starting from here, we go angle 1, lift up, circle, 2. 3 is horizontal. 4, loop out. Then I'm bringing my right hand to my left as I step back. Find your shield block, lift up, swing through the back, step back again. Shield block on the other side, step forward with your right. Turn your palm over. Left foot goes behind. Swing down, so I'm going down to the floor, straight up to the back, getting my eyes to the front, and then I'm just gonna take a big walking step out with my right just to give myself a base as I swing through. Okay, you could also just step forward and do that. I'm getting a little bit too close to the camera. But, I just don't have the space to keep moving forward because then I'll smash you all. So if you have the space, and go from here, bum, bum, boom. Like you can keep moving forward if you want to. But if you're feeling like you're a little too close to whatever's in front of you, just step out to the side. Okay? If you wanted to make that even fancier, from here, you could swing through and go boom, that way. If you're feeling like you have some juice in you and you want to jump. That's very easy. You just pick your knees up and it's like you're jumping over like a cat bed. And I'm just going jump, jump, land. Okay, so if I wanted to add that, I would go here, jump, jump, land. And the higher you pick your knees up and kick your heels to your bum, the higher it's going to look, the better it's going to look. Okay, from the top. Whew. I'm not breathing. Okay. We got 5 more minutes and then we got to go. Okay. So here's angle 1. We're going to do it slowly but smoothly. Here's angle 1, loop, angle 2, horizontal 3, out, angle 4. Step back, block 1, lift up, push down, block 2, step forward, turn it over, swing down, lift up, swing. Okay? And then you swing, and then you can come out, you can do whatever you want out of that. But this is a very nice striking combo that gets you wherever you want to go. But just remember, when you finish, think I'm a badass in my head. Like you could go bam, boom, think I'm a badass, then move on. Remember what I said last week, those little moments of stillness are what help tell the story. If you're going to have a conversation with a staff that's totally badass, and then you just keep moving through it, it doesn't give your audience, I need to breathe. It doesn't give your audience the time and space to appreciate all the cool stuff you're doing. So those little moments of stillness may feel excruciating for you, but for your audience who doesn't know what's coming next, they don't know what you're doing, they're not as educated as you at the thing you're doing, for them, it's like, oh, wow, that's the time that they do this, or like, whoa. So give yourself the space to be appreciated. Own that space. You just did really cool shit. Own that. You deserve that, okay? Let's do it again with a little bit of speed, okay? I can't breathe. Being like having a cold and trying to talk a lot is really difficult. Okay, so here we go. We have angle 1, angle 2, 3, loop out 4, block 1, block 2, come out, ba, 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 come out, I'm a badass. And then move on, do whatever you're gonna do, okay? Again, could you do it at full speed so I have the full picture of how it's supposed to flow? Yes. Oh, Alex is here. Hi. Hi, Alex. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it super fast because you don't need to do these skills super fast. I'm not a big proponent of just going like so fast. Like this isn't John Wick. Those 8711 guys move so fast. You don't need to. Often going so fast makes it so that your conversation just looks like this. What we're trying to have is an interesting conversation with lots of peaks and valleys. So by maintaining the same speed or going too fast, it's just this. It's like talking like this and blah, 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 blah. So you want to have a little bit of variety in your speed and in your levels. Okay, so you don't need to go at warp speed to make it look good. That's probably going to make it look worse. Whew. Michelle's not breathing. How on brand for me. Okay, so I would do it at the speed that I would do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, block, block, ba, ba, ba. So that's how I would have performed it. So you notice that I actually have like ba, 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 ba. So I'm going angle 1, angle 2, 3, 4, ba, 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 ba. Okay, so you notice the tempo change and the cadence change, which makes it look a little bit more interesting. Plus, I'm using my body to help tell the story. The glass is sliding down my face. So I'm using my body to help tell the story rather than just relying on the strength of my arm to get me around. Okay, all right. We got 2 more minutes. If anybody's any questions. Oh, Brenda's here. Hi, Brenda. Nice to see you again. Ooh. Okay. I love that I'm wearing a mic and I'm like wheezing. I got a cold like earlier this week because I haven't been sleeping very well. Too much speed can also appear sloppy on camera. Yes, exactly. You'll start noticing it. There's been trends that go around on like TikTok for a long time where they're like, how fast can you go? And I get tagged in them all the time and I never do it because I'm not trying to go fast. I go fast because I've been doing this for a long time. But even when I was a baton twirler, back when I was a kid, I would resist trying to go faster because I always felt out of control and I didn't want to feel out of control. I cannot fucking breathe right now. All of my like cold is like sitting right here, so I'm not getting oxygen. So I'm like totally mouth breathing. Brenda says, I'm now using my new weapon of choice, a walking stick, an age-appropriate weapon. I mean, you use what you got. That's called being resourceful, Brenda. Yeah, I didn't want to stop because I was sick, but it's like you notice, like it's like what was I doing yesterday? Where it's like I just walked up a flight of stairs. We had a union meeting for stunts in Vancouver, and I just walked up like it was like 2 flights of stairs, and I was just like, and that's where I'm at. So slow down, go at the speed that you're at, focus on clarity and simplicity, and then later, as you've dialed that in, and you're like, I think I need more, then you add more. But don't try to make it too complicated too quick, or you're just gonna make it look messy, you're gonna drop it, it's gonna be more frustrating to get it right. And what we want is we wanna have fun with this. Okay, so just gonna check. If anybody's interested, I have, if you're on TikTok, you'd have to go into my YouTube page and find the link on the video of this. Hi, the live is going. We're just We're just about done, my friend. Like 2 more minutes. I'm doing a class for my Freestyle Staff Academy members today at 2:00. So that's in 1 hour for now. If you are an Academy member, you should have gotten an email about it. The link to join the online class is in the Academy dashboard under categories. If you're not in the Academy and you want to keep practicing with me today, there is a drop-in link in the video description on the YouTube video of this. So if you just go into my link tree, click on the YouTube video, under the Freestyle Staff Academy, there'll be a drop-in link. So you can drop into that class. There is a fee because it is a membership. So you can drop in to that class and then maybe you can join the Academy if you want. It is a staff spinning class with my Academy members. So please join in if you'd like that. The drop-in link is in the description below. If you're in Vancouver, I have classes starting not this Sunday, but next Sunday, February 2nd. I have a 4-week staff spinning class. There's a beginner class, intermediate class, and creative combat. Creative combat is, beginner is just like all of the basic techniques and flow. And then intermediate, we get into like tossing and catching and doing cool tricks. And then creative combat is like, how do we take all these spinning moves and apply them to fight choreography with swords and lightsabers, sticks, rope dart, found weapons. It's creative. That's why it's called creative combat. Hello in Mexico. And then, I'm not at the bottom of the page. That's today. I thought it was tomorrow. No, it's today. It's at 2:00. Also, we do have a Discord page. You can find it in my link tree. It's also at the bottom of the YouTube description here. We also have a private Facebook group. If you're not in Vancouver, I have online classes. It's a 6-week session over Zoom starting April 27th. All of this is linked in my bio, by the way, so just go around and click there. I have tons of free tutorials on my YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. My free course is linked in my bio, so if you want to learn basic flow, it's free. And then I have a bunch of other courses that you can buy as well. And then there's also the All Access Academy where you get access to everything. And then this year, I'm going to really, really try and get my intermediate and advanced videos edited. I have them. They just need to be edited. So there will be new content within the Academy at some point in the year. I'm working on it. I'm doing my best. Good night, Minty. So yeah, if you want to join in on the members class, there's a drop-in link in the YouTube description. But other than that, we'll be back for these live stream classes next week. It's probably going to be Saturday as my Vancouver classes start on the Sunday. So come back next Saturday. If you want to know when they are, please feel free to follow my Instagram stories. That's where I'm going to post the link most often and the date and the time. And I should have the date and the time up by Tuesday or Wednesday next week. But yeah, keep practicing. Oh, please, if you're practicing these skills and you put them on video, like tag me in them. Let me see them. I really like when people tag me in their videos. I always like to share people's videos on my stories. If you're doing these videos directly from this class, you can tag Freestyle Staff Instagram. It's at freestyle.staff. And you can collaborate with Freestyle Staff. And we'll post it on our page. On my page, I try to keep it with just my stuff. So if you want your video of you practicing these skills highlighted on our Freestyle Staff page, please feel free to collaborate. You can also just tag us in your stories and I'll repost those on my stories as well. So follow my stories. All the links to my classes and info are down in the description down below. They're also on my link tree. We'll be back next week. And thank you so much for coming. If you have any skills that you want to practice or talk about while we're here, please feel free to reach out, leave me a comment, send me a DM, or send an email to the Academy. Also, if you're on TikTok, share my stuff because I'm back to being invisible on TikTok and it sucks sometimes. Like, I don't care that much, but it's like sometimes I'm like, TikTok. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I need to go take a breather before I start my next class. So if you're an Academy member, that class starts in 45 minutes. So until then, I will see you next time. Okay, bye. Oh yeah, the Discord. If you have any questions, the whole channel on Discord for skills help. So join the Discord. It's linked in my bio. That's where you'll find stuff. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye. All right.